This next caller is Dean Meadows, calling in again from North Carolina. Dean, how's it going, bud?
What's going on, guys? It's going well. Actually, you know, some of the things that the previous caller was saying isn't entirely off base. Einstein did predict, or B theory does predict, that time travel is possible. One of the things that B theory is often touted for is to escape what's called dynamic time, where there is a fixed beginning of the universe, and at least from a philosophical perspective or from a apologetics perspective, it's often used to get away from the Kalam argument. So
here it comes. Wait, I need to introduce you a little bit more, Dean. This is Dean Meadows.
I'm not talking Kalam.
Okay. But you are talking fine universe, right? That's what fine tuning of the universe. That's what I got here.
Sure.
On the little. I'll introduce you just a little bit. This is Pastor Dean Meadows. He's called in a few times. I have a relationship with him, and this man has donated to the Patreon of Truth Wanted, which I think that means, I think it's the only ACA show that has a pastor that has donated to their Patreons. I could be wrong about that, but certainly the only one I know of. So I'm taking that to the bank, man. I like that.
There you go. That's good. It's simply to build goodwill, and you got a good show.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Okay. Continue what you wanted to talk to us about.
So, and I really like that discussion about B theory. Actually, what I'm working on right now at Viola is I'm trying to develop a cosmological argument for B theory. So hopefully I'm successful with that. But anyways, I digress.
You're coming up with a cosmological argument for B theory of time?
Yeah. I'm working on that.
Really? Okay. Cool.
I've got actually for my philosophy of religion class right now, I'm using a 10-page paper as a template for it. If you want to see it when I'm done with it, I'll be more than happy to send it over to you.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be cool. I've never heard. I mean, I'm curious. At Biola, do they have like other researchers? Do they get to look at your argument and stuff? Do they have like philosophers and?
No. When you do the thesis, like anywhere else, you have someone oversees it, and you have two readers for it. So Scott Smith is he's overseeing the work. Greg Gansel, who used to work at Yale, and Dr. Gouda, who's from Durham University there.
But what is your degree in at Biola right now?
Master's in apologetics.
Okay. So this is for a master's course then?
Yeah.
Kind of like, okay.
Yeah. So let me, I guess I just want to get y'all's opinion on the fine-tuning argument, the fine-tuning of the universe, because Hitchens, the late Christopher Hitchens, who in a weird way I kind of admire, in his conversations with Douglas Wilson, said that the fine-tuning argument is probably the best argument for the existence of a God, not necessarily the Christian God. And I want to get y'all's opinion on what do you think are the biggest strengths of it, and what do you think is the biggest weakness of it?
Reed, you go first.
Well, I guess the strengths of it are like we have no way of testing like the odds of how likely life is in our universe if it wasn't fine-tuned in exactly the way it was fine-tuned. We don't have another universe to compare it to, but that might be the best argument I could say is the odds, how possibly unlikely it is life would never appear in that way. And I guess the weakness is Douglas Adams has the story about the cosmic puddle. You know, the puddle says to itself, wow, this hole, it's so finely tuned. It's like I was there perfectly for the hole, but he's just a puddle in the hole, and that's just how it turned out to be. that type of thing.
Yeah, I would say the strengths are it's an argument that works intuitively. And that's not to say that it's necessarily logical or even that it's a good argument, but intuitively, as human beings, when we look at nature and we observe the giraffe being able to reach the tall trees in the savannah with its tall neck, we think, there is a relationship there. It seems that that relationship is so specific that almost a designer is the one who puts that there. And so it's very easy to see why someone could come to that conclusion based on the observations they make. I think the weakness is, again, the mechanism, and we kind of talked about this earlier in the show, isn't explicitly defined even in the observation. And an intelligent design argument, as you were saying before, doesn't actually prove the Christian God exists and doesn't necessarily prove that any kind of God exists, or or even a single creator. Could be multiple creators, or the mechanism of how that creation could even be done in the first place. Because really we're just talking about an observation and an extrapolation based on that observation, saying that, something did this, but we have never, at least I have never observed a something create something out of thin air with the specific things that we see in nature. So at the current time, I have no reason to believe any of those kinds of explanations are the reasons that we should believe it, right?
Well, let me I guess narrow my question, because I think there is a difference between the fine tuning of the universe and the intelligent design argument. I'm not necessarily arguing or asking about the intelligent design argument. I see the issues there. I guess what I'm referencing are kind of like more what Reed talked about with the cosmological, I guess the only way I could really say it is constants and quantities, like the force of gravity, right? The gravitational constant, the cosmological constant, things like that. Not necessarily, there's the flagellar motor and, that argument. I think those are two different arguments. So I guess
I see what you're saying.
More along. Okay.
Yeah. So that in response to that, I would say the same natural forces that we might see a relationship to, in the same way that I gave the example earlier of a giraffe and the tree, like intuitively there seems to be some sort of connection between these forces, I guess, and since we're talking about these specifically, that we might be able to observe. This gravity is keeping us on Earth. Therefore, it must have been designed there to do that for us, to serve us in a specific purpose, right? I mean, that could be an example of an extrapolation you can make from that observation. But I think I find the problem to be similar in that the extrapolation isn't really valid in my eyes, because, again, I have no reason to believe that anybody did anything to that natural force. For all we know, it could have been there for as long as we've known the observable universe to be. Again, it's a problem of mechanisms for me. It's a problem of the specificity of how these things came to be. There's simply no details on that from the observations that we can make besides what we understand from cosmology and the origins of the universe from that perspective.
Okay. Reed, you got anything else? Or ask another question?
Yeah, these settings that the universe has, these settings are a type of map we're using to try to map reality. And we always try to test reality to make sure our maps are accurate. And I would need another universe to test to see if another set of settings could do anything different. But I have no way of testing another universe.
Okay. So you're saying that because we don't have another universe to compare it to, then the conclusion is, I guess what I'm asking, then the conclusion is what? We just don't know, or?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. So I guess my other question is, because it seems to be two competing ideas behind this, or maybe it could be more, which is the classic, or not classic, it's relatively new, the fine-tuning argument, which says, the fine-tuning of the universe is either, chance, necessity, or design, and then you seek to eliminate chance and necessity, and therefore it's designed. And then the other argument that is kind of used on the maybe skeptical side of the house is the multiverse hypothesis. And I guess my question is, with regards to the multiverse hypothesis, I mean, number one, do you guys think that that's a viable explanation for the fine-tuning of the universe that we see? Do you think that's a viable explanation?
No idea.
Yeah, I'd have to withhold judgment as well. Again, I've read a little bit about this, but I have no idea where I would place my confidence on it because I don't understand all of the mechanisms behind it and how scientists are able to come to that conclusion. So I'd also say null.
Okay. Fair enough.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Well, cool, Dean. Thanks for calling.
Did Reed say anything?
Yeah, he said he's same thing.
Oh, okay.
idea.
Gotcha. Because I guess my question would be, what's the empirical data for the multiverse?
You'd have to ask a physicist.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Cool deal. Just wanted y'all's opinion on it. And Dan, can I do a shameless plug real quick?
I guess if you make it quick, Dean. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll make it quick. At some point, January, February, Dan and I are going to do a conversation on Shannon Q's channel. And I definitely just want to say, Dan, I look forward to that because of the people that I do talk to on the skeptical side of the house. And I'll include Reed in this as well. You're one of the nicer and more cordial gentlemen that I get to talk to. So I look forward to that.
Well, thank you, Dean. I appreciate that. You could almost say Reed has a sort of cordial curiosity to him.
Nice.
In some regards. But yeah, I look forward to the conversation, and we'll catch you next time, bud.
All right, later, guys.
See you, Dean.
Bye.